Hello, my favorite people. Welcome back to another episode of Metamorphosis. This is going to be a very fun deep dive into what even is metamorphosis, because we hear so many things online that talk about changing, and we hear a lot about nervous system work and somatics and all of these very, very beautiful, powerful tools, which make it seem like we should just be able to change more or less overnight. And we are encouraged, of course, like all of these new moments of beginnings, like the new year and the year of the fire horse, and this astrological thing is happening and that other thing is happening. And we really get into this mood of like starting, and we're going to change everything overnight. We're going to change everything with all of these resolutions. We're going to change everything on Monday when we start again, because this week is a write-off. And we're going to start all of these things. And we get in this phase of, we know what we need to do. We know what we want to change. We know what's not really working. We know what we could be doing instead that would probably be working better. We try it on for a few days. And the reason that we keep staying stuck in this cycle is because we keep staying stuck in the very first stage of 4 stages of metamorphosis. And the first stage is the threshold stage. And it is a threshold, you know what I mean? And it is also like a big chunk of the journey is coming even to the threshold stage, which is this stage where we finally can admit that something isn't working, that something needs to change, that we're not satisfied with something, that we don't necessarily want this anymore. We don't want to be this way anymore. And this can be with regard to a lot of different things. This can be with regard to specific things about ourselves personally. It can be related to anything about ourselves, that we are too impatient, that we are too reactive, that we get upset too easily, that we don't have any boundaries, any of these things, that we identify about ourselves, that our life would improve if we were able to change those things or improve at those skills. Can also be, of course, related to other things externally. And normally they're linked. But it can be related to realizing that you don't want to be in a job anymore, that you don't want to stay in the same living situation anymore, that you don't want to stay in a relationship anymore, that you've outgrown certain friendships, that you don't want to stay in the same city or even the same country anymore, that you want to completely change your career, even though you've done all of this study and you've been working in this career and you've got all this experience, that you actually want to start all these completely new hobbies. Any of these things are all threshold things where we come to a moment where we realize something needs to change. And actually, if you're even at this stage, it's an incredibly brave thing to do, and you deserve kudos. You deserve to feel very proud of yourself. And I'm proud of you, because it's not an easy thing to do, to admit any of these things. Because once we admit them to ourselves, we suddenly have a responsibility to do something about them, which is kind of uncomfortable and annoying most of the time, So this is the stage of the threshold, and this is the stage that we get to, and we have like a lot of false starts, and we end up just returning over and over and over again to the same threshold, but just looking slightly different in each time. And it's just where our old life doesn't fit us anymore. We've outgrown what it is. And it's not to say that it's not still a beautiful thing or a beautiful person or a beautiful place or any of those things. It's not really more, it says a lot more about ourselves than it says about that place. The fact that we've outgrown it, the fact that we maybe just don't want it anymore, the fact that maybe we just want something different. Maybe we want something new and a novel experience. Maybe we want to just change everything, maybe we want to up level. Maybe we know that we're stagnating now and that everything's just extremely comfortable, and that if we want to level up ourselves, we're going to have to get out of the comfortable place, which is exactly what my own experience was leaving Sri Lanka, to be honest. Like, the place was still incredibly beautiful. It is the most extraordinary place. But it was just myself outgrowing the place, in the sense that if I wanted to go to my next level, if I wanted to keep expanding, it wasn't going to be in that place, because it did serve a beautiful purpose and it did expand me a lot. But I'd kind of reached the end of that chapter of expansion, and there was it had to be something different, something new. And I did get very comfortable there. My life was extremely comfortable. And from that comfortable place, I got to build a lot of beautiful things. I got to start all of these incredible things and just explore so many different parts of myself. I got to really learn how to slow down. I really got to learn to just love educating myself again and love like exploring a lot of new research and all of those kind of things. It gave me a lot of opportunities, but also it was very, very, very comfortable. And it just felt like, it felt okay, you know, but it didn't light me up anymore. I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I wasn't like uncomfortable anymore. So this is the threshold stage, and that's how you identify it, you know. It's like almost like when you're young and you outgrow a pair of shoes, and the shoes are just like, yeah, you could still wear them, but they're kind of giving you blisters and they're not that comfortable and you can't walk around all day in them anymore. That's what it feels like when you're outgrowing something. Like it's just this feeling of like it's okay, you know, like it's okay, but I could stay there, you know, like I could stay in that relationship. It's nice, you know, it's okay, it's comfortable. But is it lighting your heart on fire? Like, is it changing you to the core of your being? Is it giving you so much passion and joy that you are just overflowing it to everything and everyone in your life? Often this stage like feels just kind of hollow in some ways. It's just like, it's just often gives, personally for myself, it gives me this like restless, just kind of like antsy feeling where something's not quite right. And the next stage is the thing that almost everybody skips, which is why we keep repeating the same threshold stage over and over and over and over and over again, sometimes for years even, sometimes for decades, which is really sad, I think. The next stage, the second stage, is the cocoon. And I talk about this a lot. This is my whole mentorship. This is my life's passion, really, this exploring this with myself and exploring this with my clients. And it's truly life-changing. And this is a stage that everybody skips or tries to rush. This is a stage of building a cocoon where it's something that contains you. And there's no way a caterpillar can become a butterfly unless it's contained in this thing, because it dissolves. And so if there's nothing holding it, what's it going to do? Just spread out everywhere, all over the place. And then, you know, it's not going to turn into anything. To build a cocoon is a difficult thing. And that's why most people skip it. That's why most people try and avoid it. Everybody looks for loopholes. I've spent a lot of my life looking for loopholes around the cocoon, and there are none. I never found any. The only shortcut is to just do it, and to do it as soon as possible, to become as devoted as soon as possible. So the cocoon requires discipline. It requires devotion. It requires staying, learning to stay with discomfort, learning to just stay and be quiet. Don't get so distracted. Stop fidgeting, stop flinching, and just sit, just stay. Just do the thing you said you're going to do. Just show up to that same practice again tomorrow. Do the practices that you need to do that are going to get you to where you want to be. Stay with the discomfort, and it is going to be discomfort. There is going to be discomfort. It is going to be uncomfortable. Stay in your own cocoon. Don't listen to everybody else around you. Stop going outside to every second different thing every other day, looking for a different answer and changing the plan every second day. I'm going to do this workout program on this day. Oh, that person's saying I should eat that thing on that. And so I'm going to do that. And then I'm actually going to join this other program, and I'm just going to read that new book, and I've read that new podcast, and I've screenshotted all of these things. And like, now I'm doing high protein. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing that, you know, like, we get so constantly distracted, and everybody's contradicting each other out there. Like, none of those things are going to work if you're just doing one of them. Maybe they work if you pick one and stick to it, you know, maybe. None of them are going to work if you do a different one every second day. So it's a thing of trusting that actually what you are doing in your own cocoon is going to lead somewhere, which is difficult, you know, because we want immediate results and we don't get them. Almost nowhere we get them. And so we get distracted. We get the shiny object syndrome. We get the thing of like, oh, my friend's doing this, and oh, that person recommended this other thing, and that thing, oh, maybe this will work, maybe that will work. And it requires so much discipline even to just ignore those things, filter them out. Don't even let them come inside of your radar, because you're going to stick to your things and you're going to stay with them, and you are going to trust that those things lead you to where you want to go, because you you trust, you trust the process. You trust that you are devoted and that you're building something, and that it's okay that you don't see immediate results. I can go and plant some seeds in my garden. You've all heard this analogy. And I'm going to go and water them, and I'm going to water them. And at some point, it's going to sprout above the ground. And at some point beyond that, it's going to grow into a tree. But if I go out there and I dig it up every day to see if it's growing or not, of course nothing's going to grow. And we are exactly the same. The thing that is tricky is that how can we know that the things that we're doing are going to work, First of all, you have to actually stick to them. So this is the thing that it's so difficult. I've had so many false starts with so many different things previously in my life because I didn't have the discipline to stick to things. I didn't know how to. I didn't feel good. I didn't know that discomfort was actually a good thing. I thought it was a bad thing. So I thought it's supposed to feel nice. So maybe I'm doing it wrong. And so we get distracted. We don't know how to be disciplined. We have a bad day and we fall off the wagon. Then that turns into 3 months off and nothing's changed, It's difficult. And that's why it's so important in this phase, I think, to have so much support. And obviously this is my passion, this is my work, being a mentor in this stage, because I know how it works. I know all of the ins and outs of it. I've worked in hospitals, I've worked with elite athletes, I've worked with myself, I've worked with a lot of other clients. I know how difficult it is to stay. And I know all of the loopholes to try and get around these things. And I know how to actually help people stay. I know how to hold the cocoon for people so that it becomes a very safe place. If you don't have a mentor, I highly recommend having one if you can. It really does change everything. But you need people around you that are going to support you in what you're doing. Because the thing is that most of the people in our life are actually going to encourage us to keep coming back to old thresholds over and over and over again, because that's what they're doing. And unfortunately, a lot of people just get resentful when they see other people succeeding at things that they couldn't do, when they see people taking risks that they were not brave enough to take, when they see people sticking to things that they couldn't stick to for more than one day, when they see people actually changing their life, actually sticking to things, actually changing parts of their identity, changing parts of their behavior, changing parts of their being. And people don't like that, unfortunately. And it's sad. I wish we were all much, much, much more compassionate and loving and encouraging in this way. So there are things like mastermind groups, or just groups of people that you look up to on social media or in real life, people that you can stay accountable to, friends that are on the same path as you. Any of these things, you need a lot of them. Podcasts that you can listen to that make you feel encouraged, content that makes you feel encouraged. Unfollow everything that doesn't make you feel like you're doing a good job, that doesn't make you feel encouraged. The other thing about the cocoon is your physical cocoon. And this is a slight tangent, but it's extremely relevant. Your body is your temple. Every ancient text has always said this. There is no way that you can build an extraordinary life, an exceptional life that most people don't have, if you are not in peak physical condition. It's just a fact, because physiologically, creating an extraordinary life costs you a lot of energy. A lot of energy. And if you don't have a lot of energy, you are actually just not going to be able to make that much significant changes in your life, because there's so many things pulling us back into these old ways. Our neurochemistry in our brain, the neural pathways in our brain for our old habits take time and energy and effort to break, to build new pathways. And it's very easy to slide back into old ones, especially when our environment, our habits, and the people in our old life all are encouraging us to stay in this old way of being. So it costs a lot of energy, which means that you're going to have a physical state of being. Your physical cocoon, your physical vessel, needs to be extremely strong to be able to build you a new, exceptional, extraordinary identity, a new life, a new being, a new whatever it is that you want, a new career, a new life in a different country, a new relationship, calling in your soulmate, becoming the strongest that you've ever been in your whole entire life, like starting your own business, whatever it is that you want to do. If you're not moving your body in the correct ways, significant amount, you're not going to have the energy. If you're not nourishing yourself properly in the right ways, with the right foods, you're not going to have that much energy. If you're not building very intentionally new pathways in your brain, challenging yourself in new ways, breaking the old habits and replacing them with different ones, anything related to your whole physical state of vibrance, because it's metabolic, and it's also beyond that. It's in your subtle bodies, it's in your physical body. It's a state of aliveness, it's a state of life. And when you don't have a high level of it, it's extremely, extremely difficult to create from that place. And I can say this now because I'm in this Kalari journey. I am having just the least amount of energy that I've had in the last few years, I think, because I'm spending so much energy in Kalari. And it's really making me realize, like, it is so difficult to do things when you just don't have a high level of energy all the time. And I've been preaching this for a long time. Like, all my original podcast, Elite Vitality, was all about this. Like, if you don't have a high level of vitality, you're not really going to be able to change that many drastic things in your life and create an extraordinary life, because ultimately that's what we want, right? We don't want to just be like living the same old life as everybody else, doing the same old boring things as everybody else. Like, we want something extraordinary. We want to feel extraordinary. So the cocoon, again and again, this is my own area of expertise. It's the thing that I studied. It's the thing that I'm most passionate about with myself. And it's the thing that I get the biggest changes with in my clients, which is why they can actually change their life. It's because if you're not tending to your physical cocoon first, it's really difficult to change habits, change mental patterns, to change behaviors, and ultimately to change your identity, which is what we need to do if we want to make the metamorphosis. Do you know what I mean? The caterpillar is not the butterfly. They are two completely different things. Did they come from the same essence? Yes. Do they have the same identity? No. And the butterfly lives a completely different life than the caterpillar. So we are leaving the old identity behind. And it costs a lot of energy. So we need to have a lot of energy. From the cocoon is the next stage, the third stage, is dissolution, dissolving. The caterpillar dissolves to become the butterfly. This is why your cocoon needs to be rock solid. This is why you need a support network around you. This is why you need trust in yourself and your commitment and your discipline and your devotion. Because if you don't have that, if your cocoon can't hold you dissolving, you are not going to dissolve, because it won't be safe. And your physiology, your brain, is smarter than that. Your brain is not going to let you let go of an old identity when it's not safe to start creating a new one. It just won't happen. You can try and willpower your way into it for years, and you won't get anywhere. And I know, because I did this. I'm always speaking from my own experience here. I've tried this 100 times before in my past. It is difficult to be in the stage of dissolution because it's a stage of uncertainty. It's a stage of newness. It's a stage of building. It's a stage of not being sure yet, which is, again, why mentorship and why having friends that you actually trust, have your best interests at heart, or you're on the same journey together, are so important, because this is the phase where we're letting go of a lot of old things that don't serve us anymore. We have to let go of those things. The caterpillar has to dissolve. The caterpillar can't still try and be half of a caterpillar and then still be trying to like patch some butterfly things on here and there. It won't work. It doesn't work. And when we are in this phase, what we actually really need, while we have this containment of our cocoon, which is like our practices, our commitment to our physical health, our commitment to growing ourselves mentally, which, and as well, includes things like meditations, hypnosis, self-hypnosis, like EFT tapping is a beautiful technique as well. A lot of other somatic exercises, a lot of other different practices. There's a whole host of different things that you can have in there as well as part of your cocoon. Obviously physical movement as well, any other kind of behavioral change, habit change, tips and like strategies are in that phase as well. So while you're doing all of these things, while you're dissolving these things, you need to be constantly reminded of what you are not doing anymore and what you actually are doing instead. And honestly, most of my coaching calls with my clients are this, exactly this. A lot of our day-to-day talk is around the cocoon and building these habits and staying consistent with habits. And our calls, our weekly or fortnightly calls, are all about this dissolution stage. They are all about like, what are those things that are trying to pull you back to another fresh new threshold again for the 100th time? And how are you going to resist those things and do something different instead? Like where are you in your life where people are constantly saying like, oh, why are you doing that? Why don't you just do this instead? Like, why are you bothering to get up so early and go to the gym? Like, that's so weird. Why would you do that? Or like, why wow, are you on a diet? Like, look at the way that you're eating. Or you better hurry up and go back to that corporate job because you know about the state of the interest rates and blah, 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 like all of these things. And honestly, just most of the time, all of my clients just need somebody to say, no, that is not the life that you are trying to create. That's like, fair enough if these people want to live their life. People are entitled to live their own life. That's not what you told me you want to create. You did not tell me that you wanted to get into a big panic and go back to a corporate job because all of a sudden, like, all of your friends are doing that, and then somebody said that, oh, why aren't you earning this much money anymore, and don't you think it's a bit risky, and blah, 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 and then you got a bit rattled, and then you started looking for these corporate jobs again. And it's actually like almost just this thing of like, no, we agreed that we were not going to do that anymore. And what you are actually going to do instead is, first of all, not get completely swept away by what everyone else in your life is doing, which is so difficult. It's so difficult not to get swept away. We're going to actually take some time. You're going to actually think about what you told me that you want in now and in 2 weeks' time and in 1 year's time and in 2 years' time and in 10 years' time. Because getting entangled in all of this frantic panic that most people have in their lives is not going to get you to where you told me that you want to be. It's not going to get you that villa in Croatia and living half of your life in Europe and Croatia and having your own business, your own consultancy business and all of these things. Do you know what I mean? And it's this thing of like not getting swept up in all of other people's insecurities and just getting activated again into your own insecurities, because of course this kind of vibrational energy creates more of itself, and we do get caught up in this. It's why it's always a risky thing to spend time with people that love complaining and people that bad things seem to keep happening to all the time, because they love to talk about these things. Like attracts like. So you need to be very, very, very careful who you're spending time with, who you're talking to, what you're saying in conversations, what you're listening to, what other people are getting in a panic about, and what they will be getting you into a panic about. When your old identity is dissolving, you need constantly to remind yourself and to be reminded of where you're going, and to stay in your own lane, and to stay committed to the things that are actually going to get you to where you want to be. How are you going to behave differently? What are these new attributes that you need? And this is the thing that we see people talking about a lot on social media, this thing of becoming. And it is sometimes, it's beautiful, it's not wrong, but when I see people talk about it on social media, it's almost like this very easy thing, like, oh, all you need to do is think of the version of you, make the vision board for that thing, the version of you that has that life, and then you just have to do her habits. So she would probably be waking up at 6, going to the gym, eating this kind of thing, that kind of thing. She has this kind of business, so she's probably doing this, that. And that is the process, you know what I mean? Like, this is the process that we go through to work back from that place. But it does take so much reminding of where we're going and what we're doing, because there will be this voice in your head that says, but not today, I always get into this argument, I always get into this frame of mind of like, actually, I am right. It is not wrong for me to do this thing. Like, I am entitled to have this day off. I am entitled to sleep in if I want to sleep in. Like, I want to change this part of my personality, but I always get into fights with my colleagues or with my partner. But I am right in this fight. Like, I should just still have this one last fight because I am right, Like, I just need to just this one time. And that's the thing of dissolution. It's like there is this part of our old identity that is going to fight for dear life, because it's dying. It is dying, and it knows that it's dying, and it's going to kick and scream while it's dying. It's going to hold on for dear life, and it's going to say, no, but you don't normally do that. Like, why should you have to do that? Why should you have to eat that way? Why should you have to get up early and do that thing? Why should you, just let that thing slide? You have the right to get into this fight and this argument. Like, you have the right to do this. Your old identity is not going to go easily. And that's why it's easy for people to sweep us up into their own drama and their own panic and get us all entangled in these old things and these old ways of thinking and this old fear. A lot of the time, it's people are scared, people are panicking, people are very, very, very anxious and very fearful. And they're not okay with uncertainty. They're not okay with experimenting with new things and seeing how things go. This is why dissolution is such a tricky stage, you know. First of all, because it requires a really strong cocoon, and most people don't build the cocoon, so they don't have a sense of stability. They don't have it with themselves, and they don't have it with somebody else that they trust. Because when you forget, you better have somebody there that's going to remind you. You better have somebody that's going to help you when you get, inevitably, when something happens and you slide backwards. Some of my clients have been getting out of debt. Some of my clients are giving up smoking, quitting drinking alcohol. All of these like very difficult things, because these things are addictions, you know what I mean? And so when you have a few bad days, when you haven't drank for a week, and then suddenly something stressful happens at work, and you decide that you're going to have a drink, and then it's been 2 or 3 days, you better have somebody in your life that is extremely compassionate, but that will remind you, this is not going to get you to where you want to be. Remember what we said, remember what we're actually working towards. So I hope that you have people in your life like this. I hope you have friends in your life like this, or family, or mentors, or guides, or anybody that you can go to, and that just says like, no, don't get into that panic, you know. And it's okay that we made a mistake here and there, but we're just going to get back on track. And you are building the new identity, and that person is coming, and and most importantly as well, because we have so little of this, that can remind you of where you were and congratulate you for it. Because it's hard work. And honestly, it is hard in the day-to-day, and it doesn't feel like that much is changing. Like, my Kalari practice is so hard. It was so hard this morning. And my body is sore all of the time, and it doesn't actually feel like I'm getting any better. But we are reminding ourselves in the class, and like Samir will tell me, like, you are looking so strong, like your body's changing so much, and you look so disciplined, you look so focused in the class. And a lot of my calls with my clients are just like, remember where you were 2 months ago? Like, remember just thinking that this thing was completely crazy, and now you're just, it's happened, and you're doing it all the time, and it's not even noticeable anymore. But remember when that didn't even exist? Remember when that seemed impossible, and now it's just normal? We need constant reminders and constant congratulation on where we are doing well, where we are actually growing. Then we can get to the final stage, which is the metamorphosis. It is the new identity. It is, honestly, sovereignty. It is radical self-trust in yourself. It's radical clarity. And this thing feels rock solid. This is where you really don't get shaken by the people around you that are in their own panic, because you know that there's no rush. You trust yourself completely. You trust your own timeline. And most importantly, you trust your own uniqueness. You are not trying to be like everybody else around you. You understand that there's no point in us all being homogenous. Life did not come here to build 100,000 billion identical lives, identical people like robots going around. What would be the point of that? Life gave us our own complete unique blueprint. You are not going to be the same butterfly as me, or your sister, or your partner, or the person that makes your coffee. And that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? We don't need 100 billion versions of me. We need each our own unique gifts and magic in the world, which is why we have our own unique blueprint, which is why we have our own unique gifts, which is why we have our own areas of strength, which is why we have our own areas of power. And the final metamorphosis is stepping really into, and that is the new identity, stepping into that new identity. Your completely embodied power, you knowing what your gifts are, and knowing how to share them with the world, and knowing how to amplify them. It is a feeling of sovereignty within yourself, where you are not shaken by everybody around you. You do not get thrown around in the wind. You do not get treated with disrespect, because you won't stand for it. And not because you're having a tantrum, but just because you won't engage, because you know that you deserve better. Because why would you engage with that kind of thing? Why would you waste your energy on that kind of thing? Queens do not waste their energy on things that don't deserve their energy. And you don't get confused all of the time, because you have clarity. You know exactly what you are here to do. You know exactly what your gifts are. You know exactly what you have to offer. And you're not trying to try on 100 different hats and do 100 different things, being homogenous, because you've realized there's no point in that. You're going to go very deep with your own things and be your own extraordinary, unique butterfly. And that's what you're here to do. That is exactly it. Nothing more, nothing to get distracted around, nothing to get entangled in other things. There are so many beautiful ways of creating that pathway, I think, so many different tools. some of my most favorite tools that I've used for myself and I use often with my clients are like human design and the gene keys. And I also have historically loved the Myers-Briggs personality type as well. A lot of these things are just very, very, very beautiful tools for just understanding yourself better, understanding what is your magic, what are your gifts, what are you here on this earth to do, like what things can you really dial in on and go very, very, put all of your energy and devotion onto and amplify, and then that is the right path, that is the identity to keep growing into again and again and again, because it is a cycle. There is cycles within, and there's lots of different areas of our life where we're starting a new threshold in another area, and we're in a metamorphosis in another area. And of course, once we become this new identity and we're living that, there's going to be new levels. There's going to be, we always want to break the glass ceiling, you know what I mean? We don't ever want to get stuck in a box. So you're going to go back to a new threshold. You're going to build a different cocoon. You're going to go through a different dissolution. You're going to build a new version of you. There's going to be a new metamorphosis. And that's the magic of life. That's the beauty of the whole thing. You know what I mean? So don't get stuck repeating the same threshold over and over again. First of all, don't get stuck not building your cocoon. Don't make that same mistake that everybody tries to make that I've made 100 times. Make sure you build your cocoon very strong. Your physical cocoon, your physical vessel, and also just your cocoon of practices, your cocoon of support, your community, your things that you return back to every single day so that you can know yourself very, very well, so that you can trust yourself, because the cocoon is all about trust. It's about trusting yourself. It's about trusting the people around you that can hold you. It's about you holding yourself and people holding you. Do not, in your dissolution, get repeatedly dragged back into your old identity. It's such a shame when this happens. It's such a shame. Don't get yourself caught up in other people's drama and other people's fear and other people's panic. You are building a new identity. Just keep your blinkers on and keep going towards your new identity. Don't let people pull you back. And your metamorphosis will be so beautiful. You have so many gifts. You have so much magic inside of you. Just waiting to not get distracted by these things, just waiting to not get entangled in the panic, just waiting to not get repeatedly drawn back to the same threshold over and over again. You are a completely unique, magical, extraordinary being. Don't let yourself stay a caterpillar forever. Your metamorphosis is waiting. It's already happening, in fact. It's already happening. You just need to do it very, very, very intentionally. Very intentionally. If you need help, this is my, of course, area of expertise. I love doing this. This is my favorite thing in the world to do. My clients become my best friends most of the time. It's completely delightful. I love it so much. If you need help, you know where to find me. Just reach out and send me a message. Here's to your metamorphosis. I love you guys.